Hi Stampers, this is Trevis. Welcome to Video Tuesday. Thank you for joining me today. It's July 15th and we are going to be making a card with the new Coneflower Celebrations bundle. That's a mouthful. I saw this bundle and I was like, do I really need another flower set? And then I saw some cards with it and I said, yes, I do. I need another flower set. And so today we're going to be making a card with it that we made at my stamp classes this month. And so I hope you like it. So I did a lot of pre-work. I cut out the dies and I actually ran through the embossing folder. So I just wanted to cut down on some of the time needed. So I'm sorry I don't have any jewelry on today. I just got home from the gym and so I didn't wear any jewelry at the gym. So anyway, it's just me, plain old Trevis. So thanks for watching. Less chatting, more stamping. Okay, so I have the bundle and the dies. Okay, so this is a very interesting die. And this is one of the things that really drew my eye is that, let me put this back a little more. There we go. Is that this die actually cuts out two of the background for this die. Okay, so you can use it as an opening card. So I don't have the card that I made that opens, but because the card today is not going to do that. But I'll show you how I used it, and then I used this piece. I used several of these pieces also. So I also used the butterfly stamp, but I didn't use the die for that. So anyway, the stamp set is photopolymer, 13 stamps. The dies, 10 dies, and most of them, I think, this is a standalone die, but most of them just cut out the images. So I also used everyday arches on this card that I'm going to be making today. I'm using Petal Pink as my cardstock base, so I scored it at 5.5. This is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5.5. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that. Okay, so we have our card base. I also have another piece of cardstock. This is also Petal Pink. I did cut it out of no, I didn't cut it out. I ran it through the embossing folder. Which embossing folder did I use? Hold on a second. I used Eyelet 3D embossing folder. Okay, so as you see on my folders, I usually put like when I run it through the cut and emboss, what plates to use. So I used 1 and 4, 4 being the gray plate, which is for 3D folders. 1 is the platform. So you don't need any of your clear plates. You just need 1 and 4. So I did run this through. This is 4 by 3 3/4. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the card. Okay. And so since it's 4, you need to make sure that 4 is running this way and 3 3/4 is running this way. Okay, vertically. Okay, I have a piece of, this is a piece of designer series paper from a new pack called Need for Tweed. This paper is very, very cool. This is kind of a popular thing right now. It's like almost photographed, I think it is photographed images, and then they blow it up and they put it on 12 by 12 paper. So this pack is very cool. Let me show you some of this other paper. This piece, obviously, looks like basket, and then you have this side. There is one piece in here that looks very, very Christmassy to me. It's this piece. So I'm going to be making some Christmas cards with that. Isn't that cool? It's kind of like a rug. And then you have this side. Then we have, so there's 4 different designs and you get 3 of each, which I like. Instead of 6 designs, 2 of each, you actually get 3 of each, which I really, really like. And this is another rug design. Okay, so you can see the tweed in there. And I also use some Thoughtful Designs paper. So this I cut out with the one of the smaller Everyday Arches dies, and I did use Thoughtful Designs. This paper is, I wrote on the back, 163317 if you're interested in ordering it. It comes in several different colors in the pack. It's one-sided paper, which is interesting because it is specialty paper, and you can see the shimmer to it, so it's very cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and adhere this piece to the card. Okay, I'm just going to put this down here at the bottom. Okay, so now I have that ready to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and adhere these together. So this is just white cardstock cut out with an Everyday Arches, and this is the smaller one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere these together. So do you have the Thoughtful Arches dies? Because if not, I highly recommend them. So let me show them to you. There are 10 of them, and they nest. And so you can see all the different sizes, from very large to very small. This one's really good for a sentiment, and they are lovely dies. I highly recommend them because you can use them on a lot of different cards. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere this to my card, and I'm just going to put it right here at the top, very top, just like that. Okay, now I have my cut out coneflower. So here's what I did. I ran this through that double, let me show you, that double embossing die. Okay, so I ran this through, and I didn't use the whole thing, obviously. I just cut it off there. Okay, so I'm using this with this, and I'm going to do a little sponging. Okay, so I am going to use Lost Lagoon and Petal Pink. Okay, so first thing I want to do is just use my Petal Pink first. And so I have my Lost Lagoon. So I'm going to ink this up, and I'm just going to do like the very top of the coneflower, and then I'm going to come down and bring some of the pink down onto the top of the flower petals. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this one. I can put a little more on here because most of this is going to, this top part's going to get hidden, right? And then I'm going to bring, I can always add more. And then I have my Lost Lagoon. So I'm just going to color that like that, okay? So can you see just the two colors, how they play together? Now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to be a little more gentle on these petals because even though I did use thick white cardstock when I cut this out, I don't want to, right? Ooh, I love that. And then I also have this piece. And this actually fits on top, so I'm going to go ahead and do this also. I'm going to do the pink first, same way. Do the pink at the top, and then the Lost Lagoon at the bottom. Now, blending brushes work great for this. If you don't have blending brushes, but you have sponges, they work just as well. You need to get I like the smooth look of the blending brushes, but I used sponges for years before we had these, and they worked great. Okay, now I'm also going to do the one leaf, okay, and these layer. So I'm going to just color these with, I'm going to use a little bit darker color underneath, like that, and then a little bit lighter on the top. Okay, I'm done. I think I'm done with that. I am going to use a sentiment from the stamp set. It's called Celebrating You. I love that stamp because it's so useful. You could use that for graduation. You could use it for a birthday. I'm actually going to stamp it on this little piece of white cardstock. Celebrating You. Okay, so now let's just start adhering all this. Let's close this up. Feel really good closing that up. Okay, so I'm going to use some liquid glue, just a tiny bit right here. Okay, and just add these together. And then I have a little piece of Lost Lagoon. I'm going to add that to this. Okay. The cool thing about liquid glue is you got a little chance to move things around. Okay, and then I'm going to add this together. I'm going to put glue right here, and not all the way on the flower. I want a little bit of that flower to actually stick up, so I'm going to just put a little bit of glue right there. And before I glue this on, I'm going to use my bone folder. Should have done this before I adhered it, but that's okay. I think I can make it work. I'm just going to gently curl that, just so that flower, those flower petals stick up a little bit. Give it a little bit of dimension. Can you see that? And then now I can add the very tippy top of my flower. Get that on there just right. Yeah, fits perfectly, so I want to make sure I do it perfectly. Okay. Oh, you know what? I forgot to color one thing. I forgot to color the stem of my flower. So let me do that with my Lost Lagoon. I'm going to add a lot of color to this one. I want it darker than everything else because normally the stem of a flower is the darkest part. Not always, but most of the time. Okay, so now what I want to do is just attach that to my flower. And I'm going to just use a little bit of adhesive right here to add that. And then I'm going to use some dimensionals to pop this up. I'm not going to put any dimensionals right there. I will put some on the leaf. Okay. Now before I add my flower to my card, I am going to use some of this new ribbon. Oh, this ribbon is so cool. This is an online exclusive. It's called Petal Pink, called Braided Trim. Now, this is what it looks like on the roll. Very cool. But my favorite part is just pulling out the little fibers. So you can pull these fibers out and make it like linen thread, only it's petal pink. I love it. I love it. Now, I hope I cut these long enough. I don't know for sure. Let's see. This will be a test. See how cool it is? So I'm just going to wrap this around right here where this designer series paper meets my, ooh, it's pretty close on the side, on the length. Where the cardstock meets the designer series paper. This will be my little, I'm not going to tie a bow obviously today, but I think I can tie a good knot. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to trim that just a tad. And I love that frayed look. And then you can move it just kind of by bending the card a little bit. And you actually can move it around a little bit. Okay? See how cool that looks? All right. Time to assemble my card. I'm going to take these dimensionals off. Kind of have this come up like this. And I'm going to put a little adhesive on my stem of my flower. Probably could have made that a little longer, but that's okay. Okay, and then I have my leaf. And I could have the leaf, I could have the leaf going this way, which I think I will. Stick it under there just a little bit. There we go. And then celebrating you. Let's put that right here. Now, does it need some bling? I kind of think it does. I kind of think it does need some bling. It also needs a piece of white for the inside. I'm going to stamp in basic Memento Black. I'm just going to stamp the butterfly. And then use my Petal Pink Stampin' Blends. I'm going to color these butterfly using the side of my blend. These are brand new blends. My other Petal Pink ones were dried up, so I had to buy new ones. And then add a little dark. Okay, that'll go on the inside of my card. This is 5 by 3 3/4, so it's going to be a nice border. And I got something on there. Oh well. And there, now, bling. I just said, do I need some bling? I am going to use these. They are called, what are these called? Faceted Gems Trio Pack. So I'm going to use these clear ones. I think they're so pretty. And the sparkle, this kind of brings out a little bit of the sparkle from the Designer Series paper. Okay, so there is my finished card today. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching today. My name's Trevis Bossler, a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in St. Louis, Missouri. If you like my videos, please give it a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. So I appreciate it, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye.